Section 5, the magic money multiplier, compound interest. Now, Einstein referred to this as the greatest invention of man because it's magical power to multiply money over a period of time. Now, to explain how it works, I'll keep it pretty simple. Basically, we'll say we've got £100 of capital investment and you put it into something that gives you 10% a return per year. So at the end of the first year, 10%, you've made 10% in interest and giving you a total of £110. Now, the magic of compounding, the 110 now gets reinvested into the capital. So your balance is now 110. Now 10% on 110 is £11 added to the balance. So those are added. You now have a total of £121 in the investment. 10% of that, 121 plus 10% is £12.10. So your balance is now £133.10. So what's happening is your capital plus the interest is being reinvested and then you get an interest on the whole balance. Now what happens, and this is the magic, draw it on a graph. Okay, so that's the amount, that's the time. What happens is your balance does that. Call it the ski jump graph. Now in the early years it's slower growing, but over a period of time it just takes off. Now if you remember in the previous video we talked about if you planted one of these every day from when you were born to when you retired, 65, 70, £1 at 20%, not saying 20% is easy, it's not, it's very hard, will turn into £1 billion. Now just 10% over the same 65, 70 years turns that into 2.7 million. So £1 every day, planting those seeds every single day at 10% will give you the position to put you in a position to retire as a millionaire. Okay, in the early years it's maybe doesn't look that great, but it's growing every single day. But in the latter years it just takes off. Such is the power of compounding, as you'll see in other chapters, especially other sections, and certainly with the property as we go through it. Now, to make it more realistic, let's say this is your children who want to retire wealthy. Now, when they start earning from the age of 18, 20, 22, whatever it is, let's say they just put one of these per week away as an investment. So £20 per week, and they do that every week, and they work for 40 years and they're retired. Now £20 a week, if they could put it somewhere that average a 12% return, again not easy, but that's what professionals are for, over a long period of time, 10, 12% is much easier. But 12%, £20 a week turns itself into 860,000. Now this isn't about the amount of money, because anybody who applies their mind to it could easily put one of these away each week once they're earning. Okay, it's simply about the habit, just doing it week in, week out. So if we look how much has gone in, £20 a week over a year is roughly £1,000. Over 40 years, that's 40,000. The return through the power of compounding is not far off £1 million. Okay, now you could argue that in 40 years, 860,000 is not going to have the same buying power, which would be absolutely right, because inflation will reduce the power of that. Okay, now you'll see within the program we talk about percentages. Now there's a book on the recommended book list called The Richest Man in Babylon. I think I've lent it, I can't find it on my shelves. I think I've lent it to somebody. But that says the core message is take 10% of all you earn and invest it for yourself. Okay, so you take 10% of your income, put it away, wisely invest it, and you retire with financial security, with huge financial security. It's fairly simple. Now, like everything in every program we've got, it's all about the habits of not thinking about it, how much should I do. It's just working out how much you want to put away and put it onto autopilot so this automatically happens. Then review it regularly. Do you want to increase it? Okay, and just let the magic happen. So that's the first of the magic money multipliers. The second one, just as good, and you can use them together, is on section 6. So I'll see you next on section 6.